Hi, I was just reading my catalog looking for some gifts for Christmas that I hope to be able to give to people. Hope. Yeah, who knows what today is? This is the start of Advent, and you probably have an Advent wreath at home or with your Sunday school group. And today we get to light the first candle, and this first purple one is the candle of hope. Hope is a great thing. Why, I hope the weather this week is good because I have a lot of driving to do. And I hope the Ottawa Senators start playing better. They've really been struggling lately, haven't they? And I hope our friends out in BC are okay. They've had a lot of flooding out there and it's not very pretty. There are a lot of hopes that we have, right? But I'm not sure my idea of hope is exactly the same as God's. You see, what I'm talking about, these thinking about the senators and about the weather, that's really just wishful thinking. It's different when we look at the true meaning of hope and the idea that we're going to place our hope in God. You know, there are a whole lot of generations before us who placed their hope in God, and they were rewarded with Jesus' birth. God had been telling people that he was going to send a Messiah to save us, to save the world. And generations later, he did just that by sending us Jesus. Well, we can trace Jesus' family history way back through the Bible. In fact, our Bible lesson today in the book of Matthew does just that. Let me start reading it for you. An account of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now, Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers. And Judah, oh dear, this goes on and on and on, and who was the father of whom, and quite honestly, some of these names are really difficult. I don't think I can pronounce them properly. But what it really goes on to tell us, if we read right to the last, to chapter, or to verse 17, so all the generations from Abraham to David to the Messiah, Jesus can trace his lineage right from King David all the way to Christmas in the stable when Jesus was born. Wow. Have you ever traced your family history? I've done a little bit of it myself. And the other thing I like is old pictures. This is an old picture of my dad. So this is my grandmother and my grandfather. And I have another picture here of my grandmother. And this is my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. That's really going back in time because they were old. And I'm getting old. But I have a daughter, which is another generation, and she has two children, Hattie and Evie, and they're another generation. It's amazing the way things just go on and on and on. So let's go back to this idea of hope, because all these generations had been hoping for a Messiah. And I think not all of these people were really good people, and sometimes they didn't do really good things. But the idea of putting our hope, not just wishful thinking, but really putting our steadfast hope in God, is that God can use any one of us for his purposes, even if we're not really good people. Remember, he forgives us, but also he can use us and the mistakes we sometimes make. And he can use all sorts of different situations to help us and to help the world. That's a pretty cool thing. But we have to remember to put our hope in God. And putting our hope in God doesn't mean we always see the answer we want right away. I think the lesson here is also to be patient. And that's what Advent teaches us, right? It's not like one day they start playing Christmas music on the radio and the next day it's Christmas. No, there's a lot of waiting. We don't like waiting, do they? Do we? No, we don't. I don't. But it's been good for me, and Advent is good for me because it's a time for me to stop and wait and be patient and think about my relationship with God and think about the hope I have in God. You know, I was decorating my house this weekend for Christmas. And so, of course, when you do that, you have to play Christmas music. And one of my favorite pieces of Christmas music came on the radio, "O Holy Night." And I was really struck by one line because it says, "The thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices." And I think that one line is exactly what we're talking about this week. Our world is weary. We're tired. We're tired of COVID. We're tired of wearing masks and not being able to see all our friends as much and as often as we'd like to. We're tired and we need some hope. And our hope is in God, always. God is looking after us and looking after this situation, and He will see us through it. I think this is the perfect time to have hope in our fellow man, and to have hope in our scientists and doctors, and to have hope in God, and to know that our Messiah is coming. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good thing. Well, my friends, I hope you have a great week. And I hope you remember to put your hope in God. Have fun and be kind to each other. See you later.